Elon Musk suing OpenAI.
Elon Musk is suing OpenAI.
Elon Musk is suing OpenAI.
Well, I'm not surprised. Elon Musk, internet's favorite entrepreneur, has recently sued his own company, OpenAI, for breach of founding agreement. I think there's a lot to unpack here, but I'll leave the more AI-related concepts such as deep learning and AGI for another video because they're not directly related to this case. Instead, I want to focus more on OpenAI as a company, its structure, strategy, and intentions. What's up guys, this is AK and let's take a dive into the history of OpenAI from its creation up till now to have a good understanding of what this case is about. Let's begin in 2012. This was 3 years before OpenAI was created. Elon Musk and Demis Hassabis, the co-founder of DeepMind, were in a meeting. DeepMind is a for-profit artificial intelligence company. Mr. Hassabis emphasized to Musk the potential threats that AI poses to society, and Elon Musk became increasingly concerned about AI from this point onwards. In 2013, Elon Musk was trying to raise awareness about the dangers of AI among those around him. He approached Larry Page, CEO of Alphabet, which owns Google, and raised his concerns about AI. Surprisingly, Page didn't seem affected at all, and instead by the end of 2013, he was looking to buy DeepMind. Elon knew that this would pose a grave threat, so he and a PayPal co-founder tried putting together some money to buy DeepMind instead. However, they were unsuccessful and Google bought DeepMind in January 2014. In 2015, Elon Musk met with President Barack Obama and explained to him the dangers of AI and to call for regulatory measures. However, there were none. Musk continued advocating for safe AI practices, and this is when he met Sam Altman, who also shared the same concerns. Altman approached Musk to draft a letter to the US government regarding AI, so I think you can tell by now how dangerous AI is in their eyes. This letter was published in 2015 and was signed by Stephen Hawking and Steve Wozniak. In May 2015, Sam Altman and Elon Musk began talks for a new AI lab with safety as their top priority. That is how OpenAI was born. As the name suggests, the tech was supposed to be open source. OpenAI was founded in 2015 as a non-profit with a mission to build artificial intelligence that is safe and benefits all humanity. Elon Musk had a big role to play in getting it off the ground. It is mentioned that Musk contributed more than $44 million to OpenAI from 2016 to 2020, even though he stepped down as co-chair in 2018. And naturally, DeepMind wasn't liking what they were seeing. Later on, in 2019, Sam Altman created a for-profit subsidiary to raise more capital through investors. This way, it can stay true to its original social mission while harvesting the power of markets. Musk explicitly stated that he had no interest in the for-profit arm of OpenAI, but he continued making donations. Major investors are thus able to contribute to OpenAI's success, but these investors aren't granted board seats. I think this is actually a good juncture to talk about ownership versus control of a company, so let's add a subchapter, shall we? So, ownership refers to having shares of ownership in a company in terms of stock, whereas control means being able to influence key decisions in a company, such as operations, strategy, and direction. In ownership, how much the controlling company has influence depends on the stake the company has. More stake means more influence. In a controlling company, you need a voting stake to influence decisions. Voting shares are not the same as ownership shares, and a company may choose to issue only one type of share. So, how does this fit in the context of OpenAI and Microsoft? Microsoft falls between the clear-cut categories of ownership and control. For example, Microsoft invested $13 billion in OpenAI but doesn't own any shares. However, it's still entitled to 49% of the profits from OpenAI. If it's still unclear to you, let me explain with a hypothetical example. OpenAI has a structure where investment returns are capped at 100 times the original investment, at which point it reverts to being a non-profit. How this works is, say you invest $1 into OpenAI. The maximum amount you can get back as an investor is $100 and nothing more. If your $1 rose to say $130, $100 will be returned to you and $30 will be invested back into OpenAI and not returned to investors. This ensures that shareholders don't chase OpenAI for profit purposes. And OpenAI can also stay true to its original mission by avoiding projects that maximize profits. So now that we have deeply understood its history and what OpenAI is about, let's talk about this lawsuit. The reason for this complaint was OpenAI's changing corporate structure and a doubt regarding its actions. Sam Altman's firing in 2023 was an indication that there are two tribes within OpenAI. One that wishes to support humanity and not shareholders, and the other that wishes to do the opposite. So earlier I mentioned that OpenAI was supposed to be an open source company. In 2018, it released the source code for its first version of GPT, which stands for Generative Pre-trained Transformer. In 2019, GPT-2 was released along with its source code. In 2020, GPT-3 was released again with its source code for others to build on. However, in March 2024, OpenAI released GPT-4, which was better at reasoning than average humans, but the source code wasn't released. It's believed that OpenAI and Microsoft have access to its workings and is using it for commercial purposes. So you can start to see how OpenAI is deviating from its original promise. OpenAI is helping Microsoft gain profits from GPT-4. It was also reported that OpenAI is working on a secret project called Q-Star, which in some senses is OpenAI's version of AGI. I've talked about this in a YouTube short before. I had a feeling that the reason why Sam Altman was fired from OpenAI was regarding AGI, and this document seems to confirm that. So once Sam Altman was fired, Satya Nadella approached Altman to run an AI lab at Microsoft where he won't be bound by OpenAI's mission. At the same time, Microsoft continued exerting pressure on OpenAI to reinstate Altman as CEO. But what confuses me is this. You may remember this letter that employees of OpenAI wrote supporting Altman and yet requesting that OpenAI's principles were followed. So it's very difficult to decipher exactly on which side Sam Altman stands. I do think his motivations have changed and he wishes to make his products more commercial, but that's just my opinion, I may be wrong. It's really tough to say how all of this will end because the entire case depends on motivations and motivations change. Does OpenAI still believe in its non-profit goal? More importantly, does Sam Altman still believe in its non-profit goal? We can't say for sure if OpenAI is gravitating towards profits or was giving GPT-4 exclusively to Microsoft just a miscalculated move. The pattern we see right now is, like I mentioned, OpenAI is starting to chase profits. But at the same time, the new board cares just as much about ethics as it does about business. In fact, it seems to be finding a balance between the two. What do you think about the direction OpenAI is heading in? Let me know in the comments. At the same time, I'm not an expert, so if there's any part of this video you disagree with, do mention it below. That is it for today's video, guys. Hope you guys found this video informative and helpful. If you did, drop a like on this video, I will really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and make sure to check out my other videos. Thank you for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Microsoft falls between that's Microsoft falling. Falls between the control of. What's the point of these categories if companies can just fall between them?